Hello and welcome back to Retrotainment Recast, the show that we bring to you each and every week. I'm still on hosting duties, which means I'm still the man. These bums can't beat me. This is the second triple threat. The second triple threat since we brought in the thing. That's how good I've been. Now, enough about me. Gents, how are we? We've got the new number one contender there in Ted, allegedly.
Well, I should have been the champion. Listen, all I'm saying.
He wishes.
I'm saying last week, I actually don't think I'll be new number one contender. We've said this in the chat ourselves. This is a very Carl Sherlock film. And we're all expecting him to actually end his Kurt Hawkins reign here.
It's been too long.
It has been too long, but I still don't think.
Did we work it out at 11?
I think so. Something mental like that. But I shouldn't be here anyway. I should be in the champion's seat.
I feel the same way. I think many times I should have actually won when that didn't happen. But
yes, but you also agreed that I should be in the champion's seat. So
from last week's show, I do agree. Yes,
I'm just happy to be here.
As for Smiley there in the corner, welcome back to the King.
How are we?
How are you?
I'm grand. I really enjoyed rewatching this. I hadn't seen it in so long, and I watched it literally straight after we finished last week's show, and
so good.
got to work on it. And I actually wrote stuff on pages this time instead of just sending the text.
Quick lads, I hope you haven't looked it up. What is it? What's the percentage on Rotten Tomatoes?
98.
I think it was 98 or 99. I think.
Is that the crowd one or the?
I think it's the critic one that crowds on the main page. So
was it 98 and 97, something like that?
99%.
Yeah.
Woof.
This is the sort of films that critics do like, though, as well.
Yeah.
So.
And then obviously we have the stats man there in Mr. Carl Sherlock.
Howdy.
More focused on the stats than getting wins, but sure, we won't go there.
I had to put something up, so to hold my end of the bargain.
Now, lads, how good was this to go back? I hadn't seen this in 10 years easy.
I don't think I'd seen it before, and it is very enjoyable. But as I said to you off air, that I have one very big bone of contention with it, and it does for me. And I'm not going to point out what it is on this because I don't want, for anyone else that is a fan of the film, I don't want to have it, become a stick for them. But yeah, there's a certain bit of it that I just doesn't really sit correctly with me. It doesn't work into the storyline correctly. So,
well, we'll leave that there and not ruin it for people that somehow haven't seen this from 1997.
Yeah.
It's just phenomenal, and some of the performances in this were way out there, far beyond. And you could even say some of them might have been maybe Oscar worthy on the time.
Yeah,
sure.
Possibly.
Kim Basinger got nominated.
Yeah, I would have thought she got nominated.
She was probably the worst of them, though, to be fair. And her performance was quite good.
Yeah.
That's how strong the cast was, yeah.
The movie was nominated as well.
Yeah. Right, lads. Do you want to send your picks in just to confirm? And as usual, with the triple threat, we've picked 10. I'll go 7, and we'll go extra time if needs be. And as we've had 4 in the group, the other person that isn't on the show normally sends in a pick. Tonight I have picks sent in from one of the lads I work with, Tom, who sent me in. So I'll read out what he says as well.
Big
just
time
for a bit
Tom.
of context.
Fair play to him.
Good man, Tom.
Big shout out to Tom.
Cheers, Tommy.
Now at the minute, the cunt.
We will preface this by saying that Kevin Spacey we have recast Kevin Spacey. Regardless of what he did. Yeah.
He's still
he's an integral part of the film, and he did need to be recast.
You can't talk about this film without talking about Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, exactly. So
in my opinion, he steals the show, so there was no way we couldn't do it without it.
It's not to say that we're forgiving him or anything like that, but it's a great film, and he just happens to be in it. He's
part of why it's great.
Yeah, and he's a main character in the film, so he is recast. So we'll just get that out of there at the start, so that there's no shock of, are we going to leave him out or not? No, we're not. No. He is going to be in it.
Absolutely, most certainly going to be in it. Right, lads. The last time I gave you a random one when I threw the stranger in. and think this one, the 7 main ones are the 7 main ones. There's no.
I think they have to be.
I've given you the 3 for extra time if needs be.
Yeah.
But we'll get it going, lads. You've sent your pictures in, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yes,
sent
we
mine in.
all have.
I have them all there. Yeah, perfect. So if there is a draw, we can verify it. But we'll get it started tonight, lads. We're gonna go with Patchett to start with, and I'm gonna give it to the new self-proclaimed number 1 contender.
Pierce Patchett.
You're gonna rock us off here.
Yeah. So this one was kind of a difficult one to do because he doesn't really get involved in the film a whole lot. Although his character is very integral, the character doesn't do a huge amount. So I had 2 backups. One was Michael Fassbender, who I think could kind of work in that role, but I think maybe mightn't take. Yeah, a bit too young and mightn't take that role himself. I thought Daniel Bruhl could do it quite well, but I don't think he. I didn't like him in this role. So I went with someone who's a little bit, can be quite suave. And I don't think we've really seen him do a kind of bad guy character too much, but we've definitely seen him be arrogant in certain films. And I went with Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know that he's ever outright evil, but he's arrogant and all of that. I
can certainly see where you're coming from.
In Doctor Strange, before he has whatever accident he has, you can see that he's an arrogant arsehole pre-becoming Doctor Strange. And I was kind of thinking that. I think he'd fit that role of... And he's taken those kind of smaller roles at times as well, even though he doesn't need to. It's a very strange one for him.
Very strange.
Yeah, I'm glad someone picked up on
that. Carl King.
Right, so I had no backup. I only have backups when I really have a tough choice. But this guy, for me, I think could do the job very well. The original actor was 48. The guy I picked was 47, and it's Aidan Gillen.
Oh, it's a good show.
We know he can play a bad guy.
Brentwood. I went with someone there I think would actually do this role really well. And again, I'm not going for a huge name because I kind of left my bigger names till the bigger characters, kind of rounding out this cast nicely is kind of how I've done this. I went with Bob Odenkirk. Might be the first time we've used him as well in this.
I think it is the first time we've used him.
Yeah.
I will say Aidan Gillen is a little bit older than 47. By the way.
Is he now? Yeah.
He's 54. Yeah.
Why am I off this?
7 years. 47 and 54.
The age of this one doesn't.
No, that's what I said. I said he's a little bit. I didn't say he's way older. I just said he's a little bit older.
Do you know what? I'm starting to not restrict myself to the ages anymore. If I think the character's really, if there's someone's really good and will fit the thing, in my opinion, I'm going to just say it.
I think it depends on what the role is. Yeah, I think on certain things you do have to restrict yourself. I'm not saying you do on this one. I'm just
but you do have to sometimes. You're right.
I didn't want us getting called out for saying wrong ages either. So,
well,
thank you.
I'll give you Tom's one before I give you mine. Tom went with George Clooney.
Maybe too suave.
I kind of thought of George Clooney, but I think maybe a bit too suave and maybe a bit too big a name. Like even though he's not actively
doing much.
He's not actively. He has a new film out now at the moment, doesn't he?
Julia
Roberts, and he's still a A-lister name.
A nice rom-com.
Still a draw.
I had George Clooney as my pick.
Like I'm not saying it's a bad pick, but I just think maybe I'd agree with Carl, maybe a bit too big.
I had 2 backups. I had Robert Downey Jr. And I had Nicolas Cage. But I decided to go with a little bit more suave out there in Clooney. Well, the way I'm looking at this is I can only give the point here to the King here because I have Odenkirk and Cumberbatch somewhere else as backups.
I'm fucked then because I have Aidan Gillen elsewhere.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, I have Aidan Gillen in an older role and somewhere else that I think he fits a lot better.
Unfortunately, lads, I have them somewhere else, and like there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, I don't see Cumberbatch doing Patchett.
I don't see Cumberbatch either in that role, to be honest.
I can see him as that kind of arrogant asshole, and it's a
No,
real quick role.
he can definitely play an arrogant arsehole. I don't see him as this arrogant arsehole.
I think he could be. It'd be a quick shoot for him because there's not a whole lot in it. You get him in, get him out real quick, let him on to his next film.
Right, lads. We'll move on because
Into the main six, the 6 people who actually have their name on the poster.
Right,
Yeah.
As I said, the Gillen one is a good show. I think there's better out there, but unfortunately, the 2 boys have picked people I have elsewhere, or at least lined up elsewhere.
I'm nervous now.
The question is, do you think that either of those picks fits that role more than Gillen? Not do you have them elsewhere?
Yeah, no, I don't think Odenkirk does, and Cumberbatch, I definitely don't think does.
Fair enough. No, I was just going to say, like,
yeah, I can see. I know I can still move around it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not necessarily the way to go. To say, well, I had them elsewhere. I know you are the judge, but you still have to judge it by where.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I have to judge what I think is thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see. I have Odenkirk lined up, and he was the one name that I had elsewhere. Right, so we'll move on to Sid, who is Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito.
It's just not a movie you expect to see Danny DeVito in, is it?
No.
True.
Why did I see Danny DeVito just shows up in loads of
random things?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you wouldn't have expected Danny DeVito in Matilda either, but there he is.
But he directed it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't like if someone said to you, oh, there's this film about a little girl and she's got magic powers, you wouldn't be like, yeah, Danny DeVito is going to be in that. You know what I mean? And then there he is, and you're like, yeah, he works exactly in that role, yeah.
And he was perfect too, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, brilliant.
Right, Sherlock. You want to hit the front on this one?
Maybe I was a little bit drawn towards this guy. I know this is one that I don't have a backup on either because of size and stuff, but I actually think he would do this role extremely well. I went with Peter Dinklage.
I was considering him actually for that role.
I think he would do this role.
The look on Ted's face says that he has
he has Peter Dinklage as well.
And I was the exact same thing. And for me, it wasn't even his hype because Peter Dinklage has come out and said he will not do roles where he is.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I just think he'd do the role very well.
I think he would fit the role. You know, like the seedy journalist. You know, trying to get himself ahead. I think he's just so good at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't he do? He does it quite well in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri as well. He plays that kind of slinky role.
He does it very well in X-Men as well.
Game of Thrones,
and X-Men.
Yeah.
Whatever he was in X-Men.
Yeah, whatever you think about that film, he still plays that role of, you know, I'll get myself ahead.
Yeah, Dinklage is great for that role.
I think he's perfect, yeah.
Right, I'm going to level this one with you here, right? Dinklage is my backup, so you can only have one name that I think is going to beat that. I don't think you're going to have it.
No, Jack Black.
No.
No.
Definitely not Jack Black. I love Jack Black, but he's definitely not this role.
Sorry. I had Ben Stiller. Because he does the narration as well.
He does, but I think Dinklage can do that narrator voice as well.
Dinklage would be better than Stiller there.
Tom had Jonah Hill.
I actually did think I thought of Jonah Hill, but too young.
I didn't really like that one now. Well, that was a quick one to move on. It seemed like the easy pick though, really, didn't it?
I was hoping it wasn't the easy
obviously
pick.
Going by the hype and whatnot. So sorry, I'm just keeping track here of the score.
All leveled up,
right, lads? Yeah, all one apiece here. Now this one here, we're gonna go with Dudley.
Okay.
James Cromwell looks about 900 years of age since he was about 7.
Yeah.
Since he was about 7.
The world's oldest looking man.
Good actor though. But did you notice though, around this time, he was typecast into all of these roles?
Yeah.
Green Mile, this. If you remember back to Eraser, he was the head of the company. Yeah.
He fits into this role very, very well.
Yeah. So this was a tough one, but so Carl, Sherlock's gone and Ted's gone, so we're going to the king here.
Right. Okay. So this was one where, for me, again, because of how Cromwell looks, age goes out the window for me, and I had 3 backups. I went with Daniel Craig as a backup because I think he can do things. I think he can do things, you know. Then I was thinking, you know, the young man's trying to do a fake Irish accent, you know, like a little twang. So I was like, well, why not just go for the real deal? So the other backups were Colin Meaney and Brendan Gleeson. Okay. Now I didn't go for them. I went with Pierce Brosnan.
Okay.
Pierce was a bad choice.
I'll say the same thing I said about Pierce Brosnan previously. I still never see him
69,
as. I just don't see him as a bad guy. I never see him as a bad guy.
I don't know. Did you see him as Jerry Adams?
Exactly.
That wasn't Jerry Adams.
Jerry Adams is not a bad guy.
Jerry Adams.
He was in that movie, and it wasn't Jerry Adams.
Yeah, no. I still just think of Pierce Brosnan as you know, a lot of rom-coms and then Bond. Yeah, which is kind of like
one of the fathers from Mamma Mia.
Yeah, as I said, I don't. As I said previously when we did Gone in 60 Seconds and Carl Sherlock used him, I said, nah, he's not a bad man. He's not a baddie. He's a.
I won that point, didn't I?
You did, but Greg has retrospectively
I know,
said that he was
but
wrong.
I won that point because I argued very well.
I did as well, and then Greg was just like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then he watched it and he went, actually, I was wrong. But unfortunately, watched it instead of watching it before, you know, doing his recast.
I mean, I've seen it a million times. I was just,
and you still got it wrong.
It was a momentary lapse in concentration, lads.
You may as well go to Carl Sherlock here.
Yeah, Sherlock.
So my backup here was Jonathan Banks.
Oh, you're going back.
I went back. But who I went with here was Liam Cunningham.
Ooh, I do like Captain Ryan.
Show.
Liam Cunningham is a good show for this role.
Ted,
this is the one that I can throw out because the backup I had the same was Colin Meaney, Brendan Gleeson. I had those backups. I did think Liam Cunningham, and then I said, I don't know. Liam Cunningham. I never really. He's kind of a hardy man with a lot of morals, is the way I think of him from the films I've seen him in. I don't know. That's just what I said.
He's. Did you see him as Captain Ryan in Dog Soldiers? He had no morals.
Yeah, well, you know, that was different. He was looking out for, the government. That was his morals. No,
number one he was.
This is the one where I went Aidan Gillen. I think Aidan Gillen fit in here very well.
I knew that's where you were going.
Very sneaky, very much, playing the puppeteer. And obviously I was thinking Game of Thrones, that's exactly where Aidan Gillen fits in. He's closer to the age of Dudley, although, as we said, he looks about 80 before anyway. And Aidan Gillen does look that bit younger. He doesn't look as old, but I think he fits in as the puppeteer, the puppet master, much more. And even when he does get caught out, he's just, he's so assured of himself not being caught. But unfortunately, it's not going to matter because we've cast Aidan Gillen elsewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately it does. But you know what? I didn't even think of Aidan Gillen.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think I would have picked him.
Yeah.
I'll give you who Tom's picked. If I can find it. Okay, I can't find it. He hasn't got it on it, so. He hasn't got it on it, so I'll leave that one. One of his did match mine. It was Pierce Brosnan that I went with.
No.
I had Liam Neeson.
I don't see that at all.
The other backup I had was Ralph Fiennes.
I'd see him more than Pierce Brosnan. All the names that was thrown out there, I'd see even Colin Meaney, Brendan Gleeson. I see them all over Pierce Brosnan.
I would have probably overruled myself again there for Gillen.
Yeah.
If I hadn't cast him somewhere else.
Cunningham is a better choice. Cunningham is a better choice than Brosnan.
I'll be honest. If I was doing it, obviously my choice is out. I would have gone Cunningham as well because I did think of him.
I think I went Brosnan more so because he's a lot cleaner. Cromwell doesn't turn bad until the last 15 minutes.
Well, he doesn't get found out to be bad until the last few minutes. He's bad the whole time.
Yeah, but you don't see him doing much bad.
No, but I don't know about you boys, but when I watched it from very early on, I was like, he's the fucking bad guy. Like very early on, I was like, he's the puppeteer here. I think I was only about 13 or 14 when I first seen this, so I hadn't, I couldn't work it out, but I always knew he was the bad guy then. Yeah.
Spoiler for anyone that hasn't seen this movie.
Fuck off! It was in 1997. It's your own fault.
Exactly. Jesus, if they're watching a recast of it.
Yeah. No, I was very upset when I heard Aidan Gillen was used as Pierce there, because I was like, I think I had that sewn up with Aidan Gillen for Dudley.
And you know what? I think he was the best pick of the three.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me before where I had it and it was used somewhere else. So
yeah, it has. And that's just unfortunately the way it's gone. Just
don't agree with Brosnan at all there, though.
No, I don't either. But unfortunately, Greg and Carl are on the same wavelength again.
You know what?
They'll have Michael Cera in here next, and then
I didn't even think of Cunningham, to be honest.
I did, but I didn't even put him down as a backup because I felt.
Funny enough, if I had a thought of Cunningham, I would have put him in there actually. Yeah. Because he's got the Irish thing as well there. So
yeah,
he has a real thick Irish one as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Right. So it'll have to be Lynn next, and then leave Exley, Vincent, and Bud till the end. So we have Lynn now.
Yeah. Are we going back to me, or do you want to go?
Yeah, we'll go back to you, Ted. There, sorry.
Yeah. So, obviously, the whole point of this character is they're meant to look like Veronica Lake. The issue is I have no real comparison of who should look like Veronica Lake.
Same.
I looked it up.
I did look it up.
Does Kim Basinger look like her?
Kim Basinger does look shockingly like her, to be honest. I went with someone who does look relatively like her. When I first watched it, I was like, do you know who probably does get cast here? And it's probably Margot Robbie. That is probably who they do. But that's not who I went with, because I think she's too big a name.
Veronica Lake.
She doesn't look like Veronica Lake, but I was thinking she's probably who they do, and they just changed the name, to be honest. They just use somebody else, but didn't go with her because I do think she's too big a name for the role that is here. I went with Rachel McAdams, who I don't think we've used previously.
Oh, I think she might have been used once.
Possibly once, but she's definitely not a regular.
No,
for people who Rachel McAdams. For people who aren't sure who that is, obviously years ago she was in Mean Girls, but she is the original love interest in Doctor Strange. Movie. Yeah, but she's the love interest in Doctor Strange. She's a good actress. Is it Games Night? She's Games Night, isn't she?
Game Night. She's in About Time. She's the time traveler's wife.
Do you remember that one that she done in Ireland when they came back and it made Ireland look like they were in the 1800s?
Oh, she's Wedding Crashers as well. She's
she's the stage 5 Virgin Clinger. Oh
no,
that's Isla Fisher.
That's Isla Fisher. She's the
the other sister.
Yeah. I think she kind of I think she's a very good actress. She'd, but not such a huge name that, she doesn't fit in there. And I think she looks relatively like Veronica Lake, although it's very hard to find someone that looks exactly like Veronica Lake.
Yeah,
because the only pictures we have are from the 70s.
That looks similar enough, to be honest. I went with Anya Taylor-Joy.
Just a little too young, I thought.
Just not really. I mean, she's
26 compared to a 44-year-old Kim Basinger.
Again, she's playing I don't think Kim Basinger was playing a 44-year-old. She was playing a hot prostitute.
34-year-old, maybe.
34. Okay, 34.
A hot 44-year-old prostitute.
8 years isn't that much of a difference, really.
No, Kim Basinger was 44, wasn't she?
43, I think.
43 or 44.
Yeah.
Even so, she wasn't playing a 43-year-old.
Possibly, but maybe. I don't see it.
No, she wasn't playing. I went with someone there who is a great actress.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Anya Taylor-Joy.
Does look like Veronica Lake. I was shocked when I looked at the picture. That was the first thing I was like, Jesus, that looks like Anya Taylor-Joy.
King.
I had 4.
Sorry, last point there, King. Also, I was also thinking of, okay, we have the poster and we have all the names at the top. I'm just trying to think which name looks more impactful to be there, because Kim Basinger at the time.
Exactly, as I said, Margot Robbie is the one that they really are going to put there,
but I wasn't going for someone that, someone that also had to look like. I know Margot Robbie would outshine, some
she
other
would,
names.
yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy isn't.
I think
she is.
I think Angelina
She's a
Jolie might, but
she's a big name. Don't get me wrong, but she's building her name.
I think she might be she's definitely a better actress too.
Yes, I agree.
Although Margot is definitely easier on the eye.
Oh,
Not by much, but
yeah,
actually, yeah, by quite a bit. But that's not a hit on Anya Taylor-Joy either.
True.
King.
As I said, I had 4 that I was flipping and flopping between, but I went with Angelina Jolie. I know she doesn't look like a woman, but I think she plays that she can play that seductress very well, she, so that's why I put her in there.
She, honestly, if the line of looking like Veronica Lake wasn't in this movie, I'd go with Angelina for this role. To be honest, because that's in there, I wouldn't be able to say yes.
Well, I'll just tell you my other backups just for a laugh. Anyway, I had Drew Barrymore, I had Kirsten Dunst, and I had Natalie Portman. And I was probably going to go with Natalie Portman, but I was thinking the bigger name because Passenger was big at that stage.
I can see a reason there, definitely. And genuinely, if it just wasn't for has to look like Veronica Lake, I'd say out of our 3 picks, Angelina Jolie would be better.
Tom went for Angelina Jolie. I went for Angelina Jolie. It was genuinely the easiest one.
Surely you have to change it now because of the Veronica Lake thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think name power Taylor-Joy is better, but I think Ted's pick for McAdams is the one that I'm going to give it to.
Yeah, I think
if you had went Portman, I would have went.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I was looking at them.
I think the age for Taylor-Joy might have just killed it. It's 16 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Jolie was the easy pick for me. I didn't really look too much into it. As soon as I seen Basinger on the cover, I was like, yeah, that's Angelina Jolie all over.
I really wanted to I really wanted an alternative, but and like I said, and I really wasn't thinking about that caveat.
I think it's just that one line where they're like, she's the whole point is that she looks like Veronica Lake. I think that's the big selling point on that.
I think Jolie probably would have been the star power name.
Yeah, if they
although Rachel McAdams gets herself into movies,
she does.
Name movies.
She does, yeah.
No, I think I'm going to give that one to Ted.
Oh yes.
Which was it's a good one.
Makes up for my Aidan Gillen.
Yeah, I did feel sorry for you because he's probably the better of the 3.
Yes.
But, obviously being cast elsewhere doesn't help.
Yeah.
You could do an Eddie Murphy and cast in 2 roles.
In all the roles.
Not in a serious drama.
You put the banana in the tailpipe. Right, lads. What way do you want to do it here? Vincennes, Exley, obviously Boda's going to go last.
I think Vincennes is next. I think Exley is the second biggest character in it.
Yeah.
Probably the smallest of the big names.
Yes, but the second biggest character, I think, in it.
So we'll go with Vincennes here. Obviously, we touched on Kevin Spacey earlier, so we're not going to get into it. We're just going to run off the picks here and the arguments and see where we go. Yeah. It would be
Sherlock here.
Sherlock now.
My backup here, I went with Penn Badgley. He's the lead in You.
Didn't see that.
On Netflix.
It's a good. I was going to say it's a good thing you didn't pick him because I don't think Greg's watched that. I haven't watched it yet either.
He's also rumored to be cast as Mr. Fantastic in the MCU's Fantastic Four.
Oh, I know who he is. He's in The Stepfather. That was years ago.
John Krasinski was going to be Mr. Fantastic.
No, Krasinski's not doing it. He's not doing
it. Everyone wanted him and Emily Blunt to do it.
Yeah, I do.
But who I went for here is someone that we have used before, but it's someone that plays smarmy extremely well.
You could be the
Can
same as me.
play an absolute arsehole really well. I went with Billy Magnuson.
Oh no, it's not the same as me.
Hold on, I'm just having a look here.
Yeah, you know him.
You will.
Oh, I know him all right.
Yeah.
Another game night alumni.
He plays an arsehole so very well.
I know a guy who
I
looks
will. I will.
exactly like
I
you.
will. I will give him that. Magnuson. Okay, King.
I'd no backup. I just went with Miles Teller.
As Vincennes.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. And Mr. Tombstone Ted over there.
I was thinking along the same lines as Carl Sherlock, someone smarmy, and that their main aspiration throughout most of the film is to, work in Hollywood. So they're
It's
gonna,
gas, isn't it?
yeah, like you kind of have that smarmy little bit to you. So you have to be a bit of a bad boy, and you don't mind, like, making fake arrests and stuff. I went with somebody that was in a film recently that Greg has a big fan of. The rest of us didn't think it was as good as Greg, but I didn't think it was awful, but I didn't think it was as good as Greg. I went with Dave Franco, who was obviously in Day Shift.
Oh, he's too comedic. He's way too comedic.
I think he could do it okay.
I've never seen him in a serious movie. Like, he's just comedy, and even then, he's not that great at comedy.
I loved Day Shift.
We know.
Wasn't it is a movie that's not for everybody. If it's not going to be Dave Franco anyway, Ted, I'll tell you that.
I don't know. I just think the wanting to, like, the desire to be famous more than to be, like, to do your actual job and just be like, I just want to be on the thing.
Dave Franco is along the lines of Ryan Reynolds. He tries to.
Yeah, maybe.
And he's the same character in literally everything.
Yeah, even when he was at 19 doing Scrubs, as he was in Day Shift, it's the same thing. So I'm going to rule Dave Franco out quite quickly. Sorry, Ted.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he fit into that relatively well in the I want to be famous. The backup I had was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but I just didn't think he fit into that too well either.
Okay. Well, King, you won't be getting the point here because I had Miles Teller linked in two other places, and he's far, far too young to be Vincennes.
Okie dokie.
Miles Teller's 27 or 28. Vincennes is way up in the rankings.
Miles Teller's 35.
Miles Teller's 35.
So he's only 3 years younger than
Vincennes
was.
Yeah,
Spacey was only 38.
Spacey looks a hell of a lot older than.
He does, but.
Well, I'll rule out the age one there, but I had him cast up or.
I know where you can cast.
I will give it to Sherlock here, but it's not. It's just there. I don't think Teller's right for the role. Dave Franco's definitely not right. But
Magnuson was right for that role.
I can't say I've seen enough of him though. You're not gonna way. I've seen him in one or two things, and nothing really stood out.
Yeah, Billy. I don't think he's ever a big name in anything. He's always kind of a side character.
Look, I'd say Spacey is definitely the biggest name in this at the time.
I don't know.
Yeah, he kind of was.
Basinger?
Yeah, I was going to say Basinger or Cromwell.
Yeah.
But he's never been a huge name.
He's a utility actor.
But everyone,
he's a character.
Like he might not be a starring role name, but I think his name still would have been possibly bigger than Spacey's. You know what I mean? Everyone like you still knew who Cromwell was. You know what I mean?
Me and Tom both had the same pick here. We had Chris Evans. I think he fits into that role of arrogance.
And I
can see where you're coming from.
I can see where you're coming from. I wouldn't like that there either.
I had Cumberbatch as my backup here.
No.
And I had John Hamm.
Yeah. John Hamm's not a bad shout.
John Hamm's not a bad shout. I wouldn't have put either of the other two there though. Myself either.
No? Well, That's where I went. I had John Hamm for a while, and then I changed it to Evans. John Hamm was probably the first name that I put down, and I probably should have stuck with it. But we'll move on.
Twos all round.
Twos
a piece.
Getting intense.
One to play.
Two to play. So two to play. Eccles and Bud.
Oh, sorry, Exley and thing, yeah.
Or Exley, yeah, Exley and Bud.
So unless all of you have a match on this, somebody will not be going to extra time.
No, well, one person could win one, and then the other two can have a match somewhere else.
True.
Oh yeah, well yeah, true, yeah.
That already happened.
Right. So I think you'd have to leave Bud till the end.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go with Exley here, who's Guy Pearce.
King.
It's up to you, King.
Kind of hard to recast, I thought, because he's that clean cut, right to the last kind of quarter of the film. The easy one I think would, because I think he's a good actor as well as Tom Holland, but that's only a backup.
It's a good thing that's a backup because that was game over for you.
No. Cameron Monaghan was another backup. He's a little bit too crazy at times, but I still think he could play it. But I went with Will Poulter.
Old Ted's favourite.
That's the Ted special right there.
I do use Will. I used to use Will Poulter a lot. I don't think I've used him in a good while. This is kind of like Carl using Zendaya all the time, where he hasn't used her in ages, but we still just.
I think I used Zendaya more than Carl did, and just gave him abuse about it.
I think everyone used Zendaya more than Carl did because we gave him abuse. Then he stopped using her, and then we started using her, and he kept losing points because of it.
It just sounds wrong that you're using it.
I think I've only used Zendaya twice.
I think he used her 2 or 3 times, but it was just.
It was the argument on the first week or the second week.
No, it was the argument for to play Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
That was the second week.
Second week. Yeah.
When we did Hook.
Right, Ted.
I only had one name down here. I kind of went with the whole the kind of nerdy guy where he's wearing glasses and they're like, "Stop wearing your glasses, man." Like we don't wear glasses. And then very smart, intelligent, working his way up, and then turns out to be a kind of good guy by the end of it.
Work your way to the top and rob the motherfucker from the inside.
Basically, yeah. I went with someone who sort of fits that. Someone who I should have used last week, according to you, in Nicholas Hoult. I think he'd fit in there quite well.
I considered him at one point.
Yeah, I think he fits in there well.
I think I have this one, to be honest. I'd be quite surprised if you don't go with this there, Greg, to be honest, because he suits his role absolutely down to the ground, and especially with his range and acting that we've just seen recently. I went with Evan Peters.
I haven't seen
you haven't seen Dahmer yet. That's fine, but he has done kind of similar stuff in other things. I think he absolutely nails this role by far. Like this was the first name I had down at the moment that I found out we were doing LA Confidential. I was like, Evan Peters nails Guy Pearce's role.
I considered him as well, actually.
I think Evan Peters is absolutely out of his world for this role.
I haven't watched Dahmer yet. And the things I have seen him in, he didn't fit this role from the things I have seen.
Apparently, Dahmer causes demons to come to your house if you believe something that you read on Facebook.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Biggie Smalls.
Thank God we weren't looking in a mirror. I'd be very angry.
So, lads, this is where I had Miles Teller as a backup.
Oh, I would have thought you had Miles Teller as Bud's backup.
I had Timothée Chalamet as a backup here. I think he's probably the best actor that's been named.
Chalamet's a great actor.
I went with Jack Quaid here.
He's a good shot as well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like fairly similar character to The Boys, where he's kind of like straight edge and trying to keep clean, and then
not as intelligent in The Boys though. He's a bit of an idiot.
But he still has those moments of magic.
I'm just saying in The Boys he's an idiot.
Well, King, you won't be getting the point here because I have Poltercast somewhere else. And it's not as good.
I think I know where you've pulled her.
I could only really leave one place.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for the King, he won't be getting the 3 points on this one. It's a tough choice between the other two. And I will have to go with heads here. I do agree that the things I've seen Peters in, I just don't see him being Exley.
Yeah.
Now, it's all well and good saying is his range of acting, but sure, you could say any actor has that range without seeing them do it. You're not going to.
They haven't shown it. That's the thing. He has shown it. Like, yes, he might have started on as Kick-Ass, but he has progressed. He has progressed since then.
Kick-Ass.
He's his best mate.
Yeah, but you have to think that was the thing. You have to kind of think about what Greg has seen as well.
He's gone from there. He's gone into the MCU. He's gone and
I get the range of
back
things.
To TV shows, and you did that one with Kate Winslet last year.
Greg has definitely not seen that.
He's gone to do Dahmer there now, and he's.
I do like Evan Peters.
He's a bigger name than Holt at the moment, as well.
Yeah, but let's be fair. Guy Pearce wasn't a big name doing this.
True, but it's not saying that Evan Peters is a household name as of yet.
Oh, I get that, but he will be after Dahmer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll be more people will recognize him, but I don't think he'll be a household name as of yet.
I don't really agree with Tom's pick here either. He went with Joseph Gordon-Levitt here. He might be a bit too old because he does say he's 30.
Yeah, you have to be young. Yeah, he needs to be a young kind of working his way up.
Like, how old is Nicholas Hoult?
I think he's 30 as well. Maybe 32 or something.
Yeah, he's 32, yeah.
He's very young looking though as well. I mean, he's just, doesn't look that old either.
Evan Peters is 35, so there's not much there.
Yeah.
I am going to give it to Holt. I just don't see Peters as Exley.
I want to retract when you watch Dahmer.
Yeah,
I will. I'm not one adverse to not coming out and saying I got one wrong. But I don't want no demons coming to my house.
Yeah.
I want to retract on an apology.
Right, lads, we're going down the line here. We're going to Bud. Ted, pick a point. You pick your win.
Yeah, this is the one I had quite a few backups in. Chris Evans was a backup here. I think he could have played the kind of angry, likable guy, but a bit angry all the time. Zac Efron is another one I think probably could have fit in there. I thought Miles Teller would have fit in relatively okay here. But I went with someone who has become a bit of a favorite on this show. He's from one of the King's favorite films of all time, Robert Pattinson. The King's favorite films of all time, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
As everyone knows, he loves Twilight, vampires and shit, man. He loves it.
Sparkle.
That's why we kicked him off the horror show.
It's a Twilight show.
Yeah, no, I think
shit in there.
I do think Robert Pattinson does work. I think he works quite well in here.
He's really shown his diverse.
He's shown his range, and whatever about he hates Twilight as much, more than anyone. He took it because he knew it would make him a star, and I can't fault the guy for that. He knew it would make him a star. It did make him a star, and since then he has done everything in his power to change the perception of him. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Jamie's only the fourth best Batman that we've seen on films.
Michael Keaton's number one, lad. So there's no argue there. He is, yeah.
No, he's a shit Batman. He's very good. Bruce Wayne, he's a shit Batman. That's the problem with Michael Keaton. He's very good as Bruce Wayne, but not great at Batman. I'm reserving judgment on Robert Pattinson as Batman. I've only seen his first film.
The movie was so disappointing.
It's a building.
It's too fucking long.
It's a building block. It's a building block. So I'm willing to give it time.
Exactly. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was okay, but it's a building block, and hopefully the other ones are more action-packed.
Apparently, the next one's going to be longer.
Yeah.
I don't mind it being longer.
I don't mind the long movie, but
It just needs to be more action packed.
That was that was long and slow.
Yeah, that's it. They went with a building block and they made the building block too long. That was the problem with it. But yeah, no, Robert Pattinson I think fits in as Bud here. Bit angry, but also a relatively likable character.
As a backup, I did have another Batman. To be honest, I had Batfleck as a backup.
No, thank God you didn't go for that.
I think he wouldn't be. He wouldn't be too bad in it, to be honest. And again, age isn't a huge thing in it.
I think it is.
We've said this.
It is for Bud and for.
I think for the police, for the younger police lads, it is because they do talk about how close they are to retirement. That is something that gets brought up. So I do think that is important here.
Who I did go with here was Colin Farrell. I think he would be great in this role.
Maybe a little old would be my only thing with him.
He's only 46, but he can play younger.
He can, but
I mean, he looked about 60 in the Batman.
Yeah, well, that's
a lot of makeup.
That's a lot of prosthetic.
That was amazing work, though.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm a big fan of Colin Farrell, but
Colin Farrell, and let's be honest, any movie Colin Farrell's in, he steals the fucking show.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He was even good in Daredevil, as bad as that movie was.
Yeah.
He's the one really memorable character.
Really good in phone.
Was it Saving Mr. Banks? he was a side character and he stole the show on that.
Lobster.
I love him in The Gentleman as well.
Gentleman, he was phenomenal. Yeah, it's the Colin Farrell just steals anything he's in, and I think he'd, like Russell Crowe in this, he'd knock it out of the park.
And we know that he can play that fucking aggressive cop. We see it in True Detective season.
See it in anything really because he has that switch.
King.
Well, I know I'm not going to win this anyway, but I had Kit Harington as a backup, and I had Charlie Hunnam as my main one.
That's not a bad show.
Hunnam's not a bad show at all. Yeah.
He has all those kind of arrays of aggression and sweetness and whatever else. You know what I mean? So
you just have to watch him in Sons of Anarchy. He displays everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I had a couple of backups. I'll give you Tom's one before I give you mine. Tom had Ryan Gosling as Bud.
He's more of an Exley, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I would have tended to agree with that. I had a couple. I had Taron Egerton as a backup.
Again, I'd say the same thing. Maybe more of an Exley.
I was more. This is where I went. Where I had Jack Quaid as Exley. I went to my Bud because, physically, Bud was a lot bigger than him, and he throws him around in that fight scene.
Yeah.
I went to Chris Hemsworth.
Too big.
Too big.
I just could not settle on one. But my other backup was Colin Farrell. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even think of Rob Pattinson. I still think Farrell would do it better because
I think Colin Farrell's a bit too old. I tried to stick with the idea of
they're in their 30s.
This character isn't close to retirement from the Force, and the other actors that are playing.
Well, what's Farrell? Farrell's 42 or 43, is he?
45.
Farrell's 40. He's 46.
Hunnam was 42.
What I'm going to say is Stensland, when he played his character, was 44, and his character is meant to be. He does, but he's meant to be 1 year from retirement. Is kind of the thing.
I did cast my Stensland up, or Aiden my Stensland's up.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that's the way I looked at it. I said I still want these guys to be relatively young because when you look at Bud and Exley, they're both relatively close in age. One of them is just a career guy, and the other one is wants to be a police officer. No, the other one wants to be a police officer. And Bud wants to be a police officer and he wants to do good, whereas Exley just wants to get to the top. And I was like, they're both relatively the same age. Yeah, I said they're both relatively the same age, so I tried to keep them as close to each other's age as I could.
Yeah, no, I went with Farrell. I had Farrell as a backup. He never quite made it to the top, but it was close. And then I just couldn't settle on anyone. And then I think the Australian thing just kicked in, and I went, yeah, fuck it, I'll put Hemsworth down just for the fight scene.
He's too big for that fight scene. He fucking fire Nicholas Hoult about 18 million yards across the wall. Like,
but to be fair, Russell Crowe does that to Guy Pearce.
Yeah, but he throws him into the wall. Hemsworth to throw fucking Nicholas Hoult
Through
through
the wall.
the fucking wall. Look at the size of the cunt, like, you massive bastard.
So we're gonna go to extra time, lads.
I'm way out then, yeah.
Well, do you want to let the king go on? He could win 2 points and win it.
No, I don't mind if he's one of
The king, I'm willing to. The king
got screwed out. Ted got screwed out of that last time.
No, he didn't. Ted went the whole way. He pulled himself out in the end.
I pulled myself out to make sure when it was when all I could do was tie us up. I said I'll drop out because there's no point in us all tying up, which I would expect Carl to do the king to do if he needs to here. But
of course,
he gave up his shot. He risked his shot last time, so I'm willing to let him keep going.
Let him in, sure, why not?
Well, what do you know what they said? What Leonardo DiCaprio said? The show goes on.
And what I will say though, because we have gone into these three, I hope you haven't gone with huge names here.
No.
Because let's be honest, they're small roles.
One of them's relatively big, but not.
It's impactful, but it's not. It's a small role.
No, one of them as an actor is a relatively big name, but not an A-lister sort of thing, is what I was going to say for me.
Right. Well, we'll start off extra time then. We'll each get to go first on one of them.
Yeah.
Same rules apply. Person with the most points at the end wins. Person with the second most points will be the judge. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 3-3-2.
3-3-2.
3-3-2. Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to start with DA.
This is we're going
to start with DA Low here.
DA Low. Ron Rifkin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What a man. What a good character this was for the little bits that he's in it. So what I'll do is we'll start with Ted and I'll work down and around from my viewing.
Okay. This is the one where I said I have a little bit of a big name, but not huge, which I think is fair because I think D.A. Lowe had a relatively big name actor here, although didn't do a whole lot. I went with someone who can play a bit confident, but also can play the scared role if needed. And he's a fan favorite on here in Sam Rockwell. I won't go into too much detail as why. I just think Sam Rockwell would fit in as that quite well.
Okay. Sherlock?
I went with Judge Reinhold. Definitely a first.
Still alive?
Yeah. He is.
He's coming back into the new
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that's a first for Judge.
Definitely a first for Judge Reinhold. I think he'd actually do it pretty damn well, let's be honest.
And King?
I went with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
I'm getting that one.
I don't think so.
That one.
No, I don't like Nicolas Cage there.
Considering I had Cage as a backup for Patchy.
Yeah.
Carl, you'd be kicking yourself. This is where I had Odenkirk.
I can see that, yeah. I can see that.
But it's not a huge name, but a good actor.
I still think I went pretty well with Judge Reinhold. I think Ted's pick is way too big.
Yeah.
For this small role.
Far too big.
I don't think he is. Sam Rockwell will take smaller roles.
He'll take smaller roles, but not this small.
I think he would.
You know, I had one other name on this as a backup. I went at Ben Foster as a backup as well.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah. He's not a goalkeeper anymore.
Cycling goalkeeper.
He's retired.
I know, yeah, but cycling goalkeeper.
I had Ben Foster. Obviously, Carl, if you don't know who he is, he was, you remember the guy in prison in 30 Days a Night?
What was that modern?
Yeah, I know the guy, yeah.
What was that modern Western that he
did? 310 to Yuma.
No,
310 to Yuma.
There was a different one, and I fucking loved it. I can never remember the name of it though. What's it called? Hell or High Water.
I haven't seen that. Is any use?
Oh, watch that. It's out of this world. Really, really good. 2016. It's him, Jeff Bridges, and Chris Pine. Very, very good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking of the scene where, you know, he's obviously up in the office and he's quite confident in himself. And he's like,
he's getting fucked out the window.
Yeah, but before he's getting fucked out, he's, you know, doing the tie up and he's like, don't try the good cop, bad cop thing on me, guys. He's real confident in himself. And then they grab him and fuck him out the window. I was like,
exactly, Judge Reinhold.
I was like, that snap from, you know, being confident in himself to being terrified and, you know, panicky. I think Sam Rockwell can do that quite well. This is where I said I did take someone that was probably a little bit bigger for the name value than the role, but Sam Rockwell does take small roles as well, is what I was thinking. So,
right.
The age isn't too much of a thing in this. No. Sam Rockwell was 53, Ron Rifkin was 55 or 58 or 58. Sorry, 58. Yeah. I was right there. And then Judge Reinhold 65. So it's only 7 years. There's not much of a difference.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing the age. You know, he's meant to be the DA.
Exactly. Yeah. So
you're not getting to the DA before you're 50 anyway. I wouldn't say.
Yeah, I just think Judge. I know it's the first time he's been used, and that's not that you know should stand to it. But I think it's an inspired pick.
I'm gonna give Ted the point because I love Sam Rockwell. He's a bit bigger.
He's way too big for this role.
What I will say is, Judge Reinhold is that badly haggard and out of shape that you would not have him as a DA prosecuting somebody. If you ever look at DAs, they're always well dressed.
Clean cut.
Yeah, he's just. Have you seen the recent photos of him?
He's pretty haggard.
So what? And you tried to use that argument against me for Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah. Except Viggo Mortensen got himself in shape.
Yeah. Thank God for that. Yeah. I do like Judge Reinhold. He is way too big, but it's a better pick than the Judge at the minute. I'm afraid.
I can't agree.
Puts me one ahead.
One ahead, two to play. Birdie the next, and you win it, Ted.
Yes. One of these I'm actually very happy with. The other one I'm meh.
Yeah, ditto.
Right. We're gonna go Reynolds next.
This is the one I'm
up to the Sherlock.
This is the one I'm on.
Yeah.
Up to the Sherlock.
I'm actually pretty happy with it, but I had him as a backup previously, and Greg doesn't know him, so I've lost this point. I went with Penn Badgley here. Yeah, not a huge name.
Did you not mention him earlier on in the show?
I did, yeah. He was a backup for Jack.
Oh, as a backup, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but I actually put him in here. I think he would do it very well. The actor, and then gets, caught up in this gay love triangle or gay love scandal. I think he'd do it very, very well. He's a really good actor. I know you haven't seen You, but he's really good in it. There's no point in me talking about it because you haven't seen it.
He hasn't seen it. He doesn't know who it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes me a little bit more confident with my pick because I think Greg does at least know who my pick is.
I don't know. He's in John Tucker Must Die. Have you seen that? Or...
I know. I've seen Stepfather. He's in that.
Yeah. He's a very, very, very good actor. And as I said, it's not just for nothing. He is going to be cast as Mr. Fantastic. So
I'll consider it dependent on the other two picks. Like I've seen him in things, so it's not that I don't know him. Do you know that kind of way? Right, King.
I actually forgot to write him on my final list. I'm out at this point. So
just throw out a name.
Who did you have him as Penn Badgley? Because that's the only thing that's going to matter here. Because I haven't given mine.
You don't know mine, so
yeah, exactly. So
I can't even remember who I picked. I don't know. I can't remember, lads. Sorry.
Okay, right. So
you're giving Ted the victory.
Well, no, I'm not, because you could win this. You could win this one.
You two can win it. I can't. So
this is the one I was very meh on. As a backup, I had Timothée Chalamet, but he's way too big for this role. No. Way too big for this role. I was just trying to think of someone who could fit into the youngness of the role, and I was like, that was the first name that came to my head, and I was like, he's way too big. So I went with someone who has had a couple of big films, but I think is still relatively unknown. In Alex Wolff, he's still relatively an unknown actor. But he has had a couple of he's obviously he was in Jumanji and stuff, his big ones, but
oh no.
No.
Oh, I can't stand him. Couldn't stand him in Jumanji. Absolutely not.
You're not meant to like the character. It doesn't matter. Like,
I know you're not meant to like the character. And I seen him in Pig as well, and he was fucking dreadful. And oh look, Carl, he's in my favorite movie as well, Hereditary.
Like I don't think he's a bad actor.
Do you know what else he was in? He was actually in the other version of the Dahmer film that came out in 2017.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, My Friend Dahmer.
Yeah, My Friend Dahmer. Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad actor. Carl Sherlock's used him before, so I don't think he's a bad actor. I think but even though he's had those big films like Jumanji are mainly his big ones, he's still not a big name yet. So it's like he could fit into this young role of someone who's trying to break into Hollywood, and he basically has to go and seduce the DA. That's basically his whole shtick.
Carl, would you like to lash out a random pick and see what happens?
I can't, because like I can't even think, because I prepared all the other ones like I thought, and then I don't know. Just go for it there. Go on.
Well, who did you have here?
I cannot stand.
Who did you have here?
Who did I have? I had Will Poulter here.
I think he's way too big for this role.
I think he's physically.
For that role, yeah.
I think he's too big of a name.
Poulter, or Tom actually had Poulter here as well. Sorry, I never read out Tom's one for the DA. He had Ethan Hawke, but I think he's far too big.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you hated Alex Wolff that much. I think he's actually alright.
It was anytime when he came
on
the screen.
Don't pick Alex Wolff and Greg's man.
I just think he's
like,
I think he's quite good as that kind of, not super confident in himself sort of thing. I think that's kind of what this role here is. He's kind of given up on his dream to be an actor. I was like, yeah, he'd fit in there.
It's because he gets busted.
No, even before that, he'd given up on. That was an acting job. Getting busted was an acting job.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna give that one to Carl. We're going down the line, lads. King, you're gonna step out of this one.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about this. Giving it to Carl here when you don't really know that actor at all either. Ooh, we've had this before.
I do know
him. You know him you kind of know him. You didn't have a clue who he was.
Yeah, but then again, how many movies do I watch? I don't remember every actor until I look up.
Yeah.
Down to the wire, Ed.
Yeah.
Down to the wire. Down to the big man.
I went with the one that's kind of, it's a very small name, but he suits the role. But anyway, King, is your pick first.
King's bowing out, so it's just down to me and you.
Oh, okay. Who's going first?
Who wants to go?
Don't mind.
I'll go. Graham Beckle's character, again, as I said, I aged him up because I had Colin Farrell as Bud. And we said that this guy he's at retirement age. So he's his mate who's at retirement age who gets canned. I went with Steve Sherpa. So SCHIRRIPA is his surname there. He does
I know who he is, yeah.
He's in Blue Bloods and stuff. I think he
was in The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Haven't seen The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Blue Bloods, Sopranos, all that type of stuff, and he's usually a cop and things, so it's not that far of a stretch to say he's a dirty cop.
Absolutely, he was in King of Queens. He was gas in King of Queens.
Yeah, I think, and he's not a bad actor. And again, it's a small role. It's a small role in a big movie. He suits it.
Okie dokie. Number one contender, Ted.
Yeah, so my backup here, and the only reason he went as a backup is because he's way too young for it, was Paul Walter Hauser, who I think would fit in very well, but he's just way too young. So I went with someone similar in build, kind of a bigger guy, because they kind of play off the fact that he's near retirement, and he kind of failed all. Like, they mentioned how him and his ex-partner didn't really pass their physicals and stuff even when they were younger. So I played off that a little bit. He's had quite a few big films under his name, but he still wouldn't be an A-list star. And I went with Nick Frost. I was kind of thinking of he can play a bit of a hard man. I was thinking of him as Paige's dad in Fight With My Family, where he plays a bit of a, don't
He was
fuck
the
with
hard
me.
man in Thing as well. Hot Fuzz.
No, he was a
He was the
retard, man.
dopey
He
sidekick.
was the other
Yeah,
cop in Hot Fuzz, yeah.
He's
He's
an
only
idiot.
50
Yeah,
years
but
old, though.
He was the one that was
but he-
willing to go into the scraps.
Yeah, and he was dirty as well in Hot Fuzz, as dirty as the rest of them. I kind of
That's
think
what he was just a dimwit who didn't know everything was
Yeah,
dirty. Ground
I
up.
think so.
it's sort of. I think he was willing to let things go as well, though. He just didn't really care. So I think he could
And
fit into that as well. Do you know what I mean?
He is only 50 years old, and he doesn't look like he's about to retire. Yeah, he looks big and unhealthy.
I think
he
looks
doesn't
old enough.
like he doesn't look like he's a year away from retirement.
I think he does. I think he looks relatively old now. He looks old enough now. And as I said, I didn't have my bud at 46 years old. You know what I mean? I kept my bud young. So
King, who did you have just for
King? Oh well, yeah, anyway. But
I had Jason Clarke, which doesn't look. He's not the size. It's just
Yeah.
It was just again one I thought I could go with.
For a future reference, if you're doing it, never pick Jason Clarke. And when I'm a judge.
No, I knew that we'd used him before for something, and you didn't like him.
Can't stand him.
Yeah,
Cannot stand him.
I can't stand him myself. But
yeah. Now, as
Especially
I
for
said
what he
earlier,
did to John Connor.
as I said earlier, the original actor for Stensland was 44. So I did go a little bit older, but
48, was he?
Oh, sorry, 48, but I didn't go mad older either. I went, 50 years and worked it off that.
That man looked like he was about to die, though.
Did.
I don't know that he. Not really.
He's still alive. He's still alive, believe it or not.
I think he's missed a beat here, lads. Quite an easy one. I went to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I went to Sully here.
No, I've used Sully in roles like this before, and I was told no. Anytime
I'm the judge this time.
Anytime that it's come up for a role like this, I've always chosen Sully, and I've always lost a point.
To be fair, usually when there's this role and you've picked Sully, it's more of a role than your man had in this. He's probably got about 5 minutes of screen time in this.
Which is why I went with such a small name and unknown, like in Steve Sherpa. He'd come in for this role.
I think Nick Frost would as well. Nick Frost isn't a huge name. If he got a chance to come into a more serious drama piece like this, he'd take his chance on it, I think.
King, do you want to give me some counsel on your thoughts on this?
I think both of them are actually not bad shouts at all. I don't know. I'd probably go with Nick Frost. Actually, I know your man looks like he's old, but I think Sherpa looks a little bit too old. Especially now because he looked old when he was in Sopranos.
So I actually still have to. I'm still meaning to get around to that.
He is still actively in a show in which he's playing a cop, and he's yes, he is getting close to retirement in the show. So that's literally what he's doing at the minute.
This is Carl going back to try and pick Tom Selleck for a role.
Same show.
Oh, is it?
Same show. They're both in Blue Bloods, yeah.
And guess what? Greg hasn't watched
Blue Bloods.
But he's this typical New York cop.
Oh, go on, Greg. Who's gonna get it?
Would I be right in saying that your man Steve Shepard is the guy who eats the rat poison in
Dumb and Dumber? No.
Dumb and Dumber?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
They do look similar in that sense, but no, it is a different guy. Yeah, it's not the same guy.
I'm gonna go with Nick Frost.
Yes.
Surely the age is gonna kill you. I don't really know enough of your man Steve Sherpa either. Like, I don't watch Blue Bloods. I didn't watch Sopranos and things like that. She watches all those kind of shows. Well, not Sopranos. I don't know enough of him. And to be fair, I probably should have went for Alex Wolff the last time because I didn't really know a whole lot of your other pick, but I just really hated
Nick Frost
Alex
looks
Wolff.
like he's a year from retirement.
Yes, he does. Nick Frost always looks like
you also brought up a point earlier that he was a year from retirement when you commented on the age of somebody else.
No, I did as well.
But like it still runs that same issue. If it's any consolation, Tom had Sully as well.
I don't know. I don't see Sully there, but then again,
I think it was just easy.
Yeah, I think I seen Hitchcock in another role, and none of you saw him there. So I think it just depends.
You also picked the skinny guy from Dodgeball for a main role in something. So
I picked him for the bullied kid, and not a main role. He's not a main role in that film. Just the bullied idiot on the side that dies like at the end of it. Spoiler if you haven't seen it, for fuck's sake. But
so King, you're going to be out next week.
Okie dokie.
We'll get you back in the week after, which will be a defensive play, and I'm gonna give you a tough movie. Well, actually, I'm not gonna give you a tough movie. I'm gonna give myself a tough movie to watch as well. We're gonna go Keanu Reeves here. We're gonna go Point Blank. Point Break.
Point Blank.
Yeah,
Point Blank.
Break.
What a game.
Yeah, Point Break.
Okay.
Maybe I haven't seen it in a while. I've seen it pop up on one of the streaming sites there a while back.
Great film.
I was like, need to watch that.
Yeah, it's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
Speaking of Nick Frost in Hot Fuzz, that's this film he imitates when he
he loves Point Break.
Shoots the gun.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think that's one we'll try and get away. Obviously, we had Reservoir Dogs and LA Confidential and stuff, so we'll try and move away to maybe some other kind of genre for a while.
Well, I mean, Point Break's a crime genre as well, so very similar.
More of an action movie.
Yeah. I know, but action crime. But it's a hard fought win there.
Well done,
I actually, as I says, I fully expected Carl to come away with this one.
Yeah, the risk was always, was he going to pick people that you didn't know? That was the big risk.
Yeah, Penn Badgley fucked me over really in the end.
I guess he was never picking that guy again.
Well, no, he didn't.
No, he didn't. He won you the point.
I did.
Won you a point.
I'm still bitter about the Evan Peters pick, though. I thought
I'm still bitter about the Aidan Gillen pick, but
I'm still bitter about Stifler not getting the win for me because Carl picked it somewhere else in American Pie. But sure, these things happen.
Oh well, if we're talking about previous weeks, I'm very, very salty about last week. But doesn't matter because I get another chance anyway next week in Point Break. So until then, don't forget to like, share, follow, all that good stuff, and like, share, and follow the boys on the slab. Obviously coming up to Halloween, so they're going to have a lot more content coming out now because of the month that's coming up.
A very special show that I'm organising for all the lads.
Yes, we do have that, but we won't give away too many spoilers on what that is either. But until next week, guys, good luck.
Adios.